All right, so one of the biggest lies out there right now that's been taught in satanic mainstream Christianity is a 7 year tribulation. This is not true. There's not 7 years in the tribulation. This is why Bob Barr and God a Minute, Barry Awe, and the guys who are watching for the rapture always calling rapture dates, they're wrong. This is what has thrown them off. So they've bumped it up to 2031 for the end instead of 2030. And they don't understand that there's only a 42-month Great Tribulation. And this is a huge just deception these days. This is huge, especially because the times that we're in, we're all waking up to the timeline, right? We're in those days, we're in those the last of the last days, and God is waking people up, and people want to know the timelines because they're there. And they had it right, 2029, 2030, and they have swayed from the truth. Now I'm going to take you to a couple places in the Bible where it talks about a 42-month tribulation only, but then it uses the term time, times, and a half a time. It doesn't say 42 months, it doesn't say any time, it says that time, times, and a half a time. And then later on in the chapter, it says 42 months. So people just automatically assume that time times and a half a time is 42 months also. And it is not. You see, that it doesn't, God did it like that because they're different things. So, like I've shown before, Revelation chapter 12 and Daniel chapter 12, interesting that it's the same chapters, use these terms time, times, and a half a time, and then it uses the term 42 months. So, what does time, times, and a half a time mean? Well, if it just meant 42 months, God would have just said 42 months, but it doesn't. So, when you go to the end, 2030, not 2031, and you go 3,500 years back instead of 3.5 years back, that is what 42 months is. 42 months is 3.5 years. But I believe time times and a half a time is 3,500 years. Because from 2030 back 3,500 years, it takes you directly into the first Exodus. And that makes perfect sense because 2030 would be the second Exodus when Jesus comes back and delivers Israel to the promised land. So that is what time times and a half a time means. The bottom line is you have to know that it doesn't mean 42 months. And once you figure that out, then things become a lot more clear. Like in Daniel chapter 12, you have to understand what the daily sacrifice is. Because it says once the daily sacrifice is taken away, then there will be 42 months, the last 42 months. So Christ is the daily sacrifice. Where's Christ? Christ is in us, the hope of glory. That would be the rapture. So you have the daily sacrifice taken away. Even Paul says that I die daily and we're living sacrifices. And this is because Christ is in us. And so that is the daily sacrifice in the 42 months. And that matches perfectly up with Revelation chapter 12. The man child is harpazoed. The man child is the one new man, the body of Christ. The man child. Ephesians chapter 2. The Jew and the Gentile reconciled into one body, one new man. The man child harpazoed up. And then it says that there will be 42 months. So again, once you figure this out, then you figured out a great mystery. Because, this lie has been circulating for so long, so widespread all across Christianity of this 7 year tribulation, and it's not there. You look at the last days prophet Daniel, in Daniel chapter 12, it's not there. Revelation chapter 12, it's not there. Only this term, time, times, and a half a time, and then 42 months is used. And so people automatically assume that that means 42 months also, and it does not. It's 3,500 years. 42 months is 3.5 years. And so once you figure this out, then it'll put you right back on track for the end being 2029, 2030. And then the rapture, subtracting 42 months from that, would be in about 2025. Like I've been saying for like a year now, maybe more. And the real thing that's a shame is that a lot of these guys, they have big followings and stuff like this, and I think that they would be worried or scared about reducing the Great Tribulation to 3.5 years rather than 7 years, because I think that they're afraid of persecution. If everybody's teaching this one thing and then all of a sudden you come out and say, no, I disagree with that, then you're out of the group, right? Or you're out of the mix, you're out of the fold. But that's really what needs to be done, because all these dum-dums have pushed it up to 2031 instead of understanding that it's 2030, but it's only 42-month Great Tribulation. The reason that they have to push it up to 2031, because they're trying to fit the 7-year idea in. It's not there. And it's now they've all gone off track. And I don't mean to call them dum-dums, because, they're not dumb, but it's very frustrating to see everybody not able to figure it out. Why? It's right there. It's right there in the scriptures. They should ask themselves, why don't I see 7 years anywhere? I just see 3.5 over and over and over in the book of Revelation. And I see this term time, times and a half a time. I sit here and I think, well, why am I the only one who is acknowledging that time, times and a half a time does not say 42 months? Because it does not mean 42 months. It frustrates me to think that those guys are not seeing this. And part of me says that it's willful ignorance, that they don't want to see it, because going against a 7-year tribulation, gee whiz, that's just too much, and I'll be out of the group and everybody will say this and that, and but it's right there.